Welcome back to Death Toll Racing. This is Mrs. Stinky, a 1968 442 convertible barn find that we had that smelled real bad when we got her. And, well, I think it's all in my head, but I think she still stinks. Her front end, though, it needs a facelift. All right, while I get the car ready to do our facelift here, I put together a spreadsheet, and I'm going to try to keep this up to date for the entire process. And so that's everything we have into the car so far, including the car itself. And this car is going to remain a runner driver the entire time I do this. So I put a temporary or permanent column in, and that's just to label some of the parts that are either temporary or permanent that you normally wouldn't have to buy the temporary parts if you're doing a frame off. But I really want to discourage people from diving into a frame off restoration, because a lot of people go into it with the best intentions and it's really, really hard to stay motivated to do it. And I think keeping it a runner driver like we're doing on this one is a much better plan of attack. And our very first step is this grill, and I have to say, overkill much on the hardware. 5/16 bolts on the side, 6 of them in total, holding on a plastic grill. The grill was broken in a few spots, so some of the bolts I could remove after the grill was removed. And then 2 basically sheet metal screws in the center. Now there's a couple braces that go from the bumper to the basically the same bolt, or it's a fancy stud that goes through the frame. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the nuts on that, and then we'll remove the bolts on the bumper side. Now I'm going to remove these studs. These studs are fairly specialty. It's something you could make, but they're a pressed on bushing on top of a stud that's splined. So this one was being a little bit of a pain to get out because the bolt was a little corroded on there, so I had to hold it with some vice grips as gentle as possible so I didn't put any marks in it. And then we're just going to remove the inner bolts on the bumper and take the rest out in one piece. And I want to save these bumper bolts, so we're going to let those soak. All right, now we need to remove these plastic headlight surrounds. And a lot of the parts I'm taking off now, those technically could stay on it if we were just removing this to, service something behind it. But since we're replacing the plastic, it all has to come off anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and remove it while it's on the car so that it's being held. They have a couple of big bolts in here. This side was actually missing the upper bolt, so we'll have to find one of those. We'll try to match it up as good as we can. There's 4 screws that you get to from in here, and then another 2 that you get to from the inside of the grill. And, well, at some point this was repaired. The connector for the lights is gone, so someone hardwired it in there. So I'm going to have to disconnect that the hard way. And we'll try to figure out what's going on with the electrical there. This side appears to be all original still. So this side will unplug like it's supposed to, and then there's a ground wire that is screwed to the firewall, or to the course board, I mean. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to address the why don't you just people at this point. I set into this as a driver car. I just wanted to revamp the front end a little bit. And this is where the why don't you just people get themselves into trouble a lot, and they're trying to get me in trouble too. And that's why don't you just replace the core support, fix the rust, fix the dent in the side, and next thing you know, I'm going from front to back, full frame off restoration, repainting the car, going through, and I'm going to be $50,000, $75,000 into the car, and it's going to be torn apart for 5 years or indefinitely, like most people have in their garage, where the car is just overwhelming and you end up just selling it to a guy like me who throws it in a shipping container and saves it for a someday project. I don't want to do that. The whole point of this project today was just to refresh the front end. We're not trying to make it look brand new. We're not restoring the car from front to back. I'm just refreshing this so it looks better as a driver. Now there's a few why don't you justs that I almost went down the road, but I realized how bad they were going to snowball, so I'm cutting myself off from doing them, because sometimes when you do a why don't you just, it kind of forces you to continue on. And I'm just gonna have to say, nope, that was not the point of this. We are just putting this back together, doing a front end refresh so it looks a little bit better, and we replace the broken and faded plastic. Now, I'm not going to start wadding paint or anything on the front, because that is a why don't you just where it just keeps going, or I'm just throwing paint on crappy material and cutting a lot of corners, and it's just going to be a mess for me to clean up later. And since this car is not going to be out in the weather or anything anymore, it's not going to deteriorate any more than it currently is. Now, I do have a dent on this fender, and I almost why don't you just fixed it, but that was going to snowball drastically, and I just have to let it go. And that being said, that means I can't replace this piece of trim, so I'm going to address that right now. We're just going to do a temporary fix until we do go to paint this car, which then means we'll have to take this whole front end apart, and that's this, hot glue. Hot glue is great because I can get it in there, and it's really easy to get it back off again. So we'll just wad some hot glue in there. If it leaks out, that's fine. We'll cut it off once it cools down. And this is going to at least just hold it so it doesn't rattle. Now this is really, really cheesy. And that's totally fine. And if you don't like that, whoa, that's getting hot. If you don't like it, it's fine. I don't mind. And you can go ahead and comment and tell me how stupid I am. But to get this piece off, that is actually a pretty big project. So we're going to have to just good enough it for now. Now that looks terrible, but don't worry about it. It's just hot glue. And that's the greatest part. That's an industrial hot glue. It sticks pretty good. I've had pretty good luck with it. You know, that could pop off at some point, and we'll have to readdress it at that point, but it's not going to fall off. It's still attached down there. That broke because of that dent. That's in. So if I went to try to change this, I would have to flex it, or I would have to actually start pounding that dent out, which then would make that snowball into a bigger project. That's why I'm just like, you know what, good enough. We're going to polish this out, and it's just going to be good enough for now, and we'll replace it at some point later on. That will be good enough. Looks a lot better than it did. At least it's sitting in the right spot now. And now I'm just going to polish out these corner trims. They are in pretty good shape. The one is obviously broke that we just glued on, but as far as the sheen on them is pretty good. And I just want to clean them up. I don't want to make them look brand new again. I'm just cleaning them up so they look a little more presentable. One would assume that's a water drain, which would be at the bottom. So this was installed upside down in the other one because this ground plug here goes through that hole, and it was installed upside down in the other one. And I didn't notice that I was taking it out, but that has to be the way it was installed. Otherwise, there'd be a hole for that plug, and it's not there. So anyway, this was installed upside down. I don't know if that's correct, if that's the way the factory did it, or if this is just the right hand light, which is identical to this one, just ran upside down. So maybe you guys would know if there's a right and left of these. Oh no, it says right hand really big right on it. Never mind, answered my own question. So this is a right hand light, just upside down. Unfortunately, I don't have another light, and we're going to have to put it in. And what's really unfortunate about that is it actually is not going to be very easy to change this out once we get our new one. So I have to say, these actually do fit quite well, and some of the holes are missing, so you do have to drill them yourself. So we're going to install everything through with the holes that are there and get it positioned correctly before we start drilling anything. All right, so now I'm using an 1/8 inch drill, and we're going to drill the factory, or at least the bezels that were in there that were drilled all the way through. The chrome trim or the stainless steel trim will hide that, and I'm using all the original screws still. For the most part, we have most of the original hardware. So I was actually able to save throughout this whole project every single one of the U-nuts, clip nuts, spring nuts, whatever you want to call them. I was able to save all of them. I guess we can thank Kroll for that. And now I'm just polishing the stainless steel before we put that on there. It'll be a lot easier to do it right now while it's loose in my hand. And we have to drill for this one as well, so we'll have to position it and then drill with that same 1/8 inch drill. And then we'll use the original hardware on that, which is stainless steel in this situation. So I believe these are the original bezels still, but they are suspiciously in good shape. So it's possible that these were replaced or repainted at some point. And now these screws are a little bit larger, so you do have to step up the drill size. I believe it was a 13/64, but I can't remember right off the top of my head. And now it's just a rinse and repeat for the other side, except this side has the proper turn signal in it. So a pick that isn't a hook makes it really easy getting those spring clips on and off. Uh-oh. Oh, she's just telling me how great I am, and how handsome I am, and how good I am at working on this 442. So now I got to swap these brackets onto this other bumper, and what I'm going to do is just basically eyeball roughly where the bolts used to be, and then I measured the width between the brackets so I can make sure that we're the same width. That way we can ensure that it'll slide on the frame, and we'll have to adjust it. So we're going to end up having to loosen all the bolts again and adjust it, but this is going to get us hopefully pretty close. But it's pretty much certain that it won't be in the right spot exactly. Now what you're seeing me doing, I have some polishing compound that I'm on that drill, and I'm just buffing some of the heads of the bolts. So I'm moving them around a little bit. They used the same stainless covered carriage bolts or bumper bolts in all the holes, so some of them aren't visible, and then some of them were in pretty bad shape from hitting on stuff on the bumper. So I'm kind of moving them around, and I'm using the better conditioned ones in the visible spots and the lesser conditioned ones in the non-visible spots. And then there was a few that were bad and that I had to replace, but the bumper bolts that came on this car were much flatter than the ones that I replaced it. The ones I replaced it with had a bigger bulb. So I put those in a an area where you won't see them. Otherwise, I did have new bumper bolts that would have worked. They just weren't the right shape for these. These were very flat and much better looking than the ones I had. So now when I'm sliding it on there, I'm just putting it on with the back bolts first, and that allows it to hang down, and then I'm just able to jack it up and kind of pivot it around those back bolts, and it will slide in and out and down just by loosening the 4 bolts on the bumper, and that allows you to basically position the bumper just with those 4 bolts in and out, and up and down, and then anything side to side, you have to actually start loosening all the bolts, which I did have to do, and it took quite a bit, even though it went by pretty quick. Now that I got that done, we'll just put in those diagonal braces again. I have the bumper right where I want it, so I should be able to just tighten those right down where I wanted them. So now we're going to swap out the grill. My emblem's in good shape, so I'm just going to swap it over. But those nuts, they're those speed nuts. Those were real loose on the emblem, so if you just kind of put them on the ground like I did and tap them a little bit, you don't want to go too much. That'll tighten them up again, so they'll work again. You don't need to replace them. You just need to kind of tweak them back to their original shape again by just set them flat on the ground and just give them a little love tap, and that seems to work. So now we put all our excessive bolts back in it, which were all the 5/16 18 bolts, 6 of them on the sides. Just so overkill for a plastic grill. Those could have been some sort of a sheet metal screw into a spring nut, but that's okay. It's in there and it's not going anywhere. Well, at least the bolts aren't going anywhere. The grill will just break around it. So I probably could have put these on the bumper before I installed it, but using that's just electrical wire lubes for pulling it through conduit. That works really good, and it doesn't make a mess for sliding stuff like that in. That works pretty good. And then this is a side marker light, and I forgot to order the gasket for it. So we'll have to take that side marker back off once I get the gasket, but until then, it looks okay. Man, this car, it looks great up front. It made the car look just brighter in general. It looks so much brighter now that it has all that bright and shiny silver and chrome up front. It looks pretty good. And it also, the old bumper, she definitely hit something with the point of it. I didn't realize how much flatter the original one looked than the other one. I didn't really realize that until I swapped them out. But it was definitely kind of flattened out a little bit. Or this new one is a little bit exaggerated on the point. I'm not sure which is true, but I do know that the original bumper was hit a little bit. Now, another project that I did, and I made a short on it, but I put a new shifter ball on it since it didn't come with one, so that one disappeared while it was in storage. So I got a new shifter ball, but I couldn't get one quick enough that actually fit. So I bought a solid aluminum one, and I made it work, which means I had to drill and tap it. And then I did chase the threads on the shifter handle, which is what you saw me do first. I didn't change the threads, I just chased them to make them clean. And now this didn't come right away, but I did end up having to chamfer the bottom of the shift ball to clear the nut, which I also had to come up with. So it's 3/8 24 is what the factory shift arm had on this one with the Hurst shifter. So I think it looks pretty good. I don't think it's supposed to have a shift pattern on the ball, but otherwise, I think it looks pretty cool. All right, now we got to talk about budget. $11,052 is where we're at in this car. Now, the good news is I'm definitely not upside down in this car yet. But the bad news is I probably will be. And that's unfortunate. But it's just whether or not it's worth it to you. And I don't really look at it as much as being upside down in it. Otherwise, I wouldn't build stupid stuff like that. There's no way I'm going to be right side up in that thing. And that's all right. The next project on that's body and paint. So I'm kind of dragging my feet on it a little bit. But what is coming up next, because the master cylinder is starting to leak, which I was afraid of, and I didn't replace it, we are going to go after the brakes on this, but I'm not going to mess with the drum brakes anymore. We're just going to go disc. So we're going to do a full disc brake swap, so that'll be coming up on the car. That's nothing super special, but I feel like it's a pretty good video, and you can kind of watch it and see what it actually takes to do it, since I don't really sugarcoat anything. If something's a pain in the butt, I'll tell you it. I won't make it look easier than it actually was. So anyway, there's the car. I think it's coming out pretty good. So stay tuned for more on this. It'll be disc brakes, and we also have to tackle some electrical stuff on it. Like the whole thing, the fuse panel's complete crap on it. So we got to tackle that. And then once the rear bumper comes in, we'll do our butt lift. So I have everything else for the back end. We're just waiting on the bumper. That's on back order. So stay tuned. If you haven't checked out this is a pretty fun process. There's some pretty good videos on this out on the channel now. So check that out. It's fun. Even if you don't really think you're into it, you might be by the time you watch that. Or you can check out the 4x4 RV that I built before. That's a pretty popular one, and that one's a pretty cool video. So anyway, check those out. More to come on the 442. We'll see you then.